On May 14, 2008, a mysterious object plummeted from the sky near the town of Needles, California, forever etching this event into the annals of UFO lore. This incident, which involved local eyewitnesses, military helicopters, and strange men in black, has captured the attention of UFO enthusiasts and investigators for years. Despite denials from official agencies and the disappearance of key witnesses, the Needles crash remains one of the most intriguing and well-documented UFO cases in recent memory.
1 year ago, something weird blazed out of the sky and crashed on the banks of the Colorado River south of Needles. Our I-Team reports about the Needles UFO went all over the world, and a lot of people came to check out the area, including men in black types. The I-Team's George Knapp spoke to residents who've had a year to think about what they saw that night.
In the early morning hours of May 14th, at around 3 a.m., Frank Costigan, a former chief of airport security at LAX, awoke to let his cat outside. As he gazed into the night sky, he saw a glowing object streaking across the sky with a bluish-green hue. At first glance, it might have appeared like a meteor, but according to Costigan, the object behaved in ways no ordinary meteor would. He noted that the object initially moved very fast, slowed down for a brief moment, and then accelerated again before vanishing behind a hill. Costigan waited for a sound that would confirm the object's impact, but heard nothing. He was certain, however, that the object had crashed based on its size and trajectory. Hours later, other witnesses in the Needles area would also come forward to share their own accounts of what they saw that night. One of the most notable witnesses was a man who goes by the name Bob on the River. Bob lived in a houseboat along the Colorado River, and he, too, saw the object as it blazed through the sky. According to his account, the object didn't crash with the explosive force one might expect. Instead, it hit the riverbank with a soft thump, as if it had landed rather than crashed. What followed the crash would prove to be just as mysterious as the object's descent. 17 minutes after the object hit the ground, military helicopters arrived in the area. Bob described seeing at least 5 helicopters, including a massive sky crane helicopter, which is commonly used for lifting heavy objects. This sky crane, according to Bob, quickly hooked onto the downed object, which was still glowing, and airlifted it away, heading in the direction of Las Vegas. David Hayes, the owner of KTOX Radio in Needles, witnessed a strange convoy of vehicles in the hour following the crash. He described the vehicles as dark military-style trucks, some of which appeared to be equipped with advanced surveillance equipment. He even had an unsettling encounter with one of the drivers, who seemed to be following him. As the day wore on, these mysterious men in black vehicles were spotted around town. According to multiple witnesses, the men in these vehicles had a distinctly military bearing, but were not in uniform. They were seen near the radio station, seemingly conducting surveillance of the area and possibly even monitoring local witnesses. The object that crashed near Needles sparked a wave of curiosity and concern among the local population. While some believed it could have been a downed aircraft, many were convinced that it was something far more unusual. Frank Costigan, with his extensive experience in aviation, was certain that what he saw was not a plane or any conventional craft. Likewise, Bob on the River, who initially thought it might have been a plane crash, was left bewildered by the lack of an explosion or traditional crash sounds. In the hours and days following the incident, locals began piecing together bits of information from various witnesses. The presence of helicopters so soon after the crash, the odd behavior of the military-style vehicles, and the glowing object itself all suggested that this was no ordinary event. The story gained traction when it was picked up by local media. The CBS affiliate in Las Vegas, along with independent journalists, began investigating the incident. Notably, investigative reporter George Knapp, known for his work on Area 51 and UFO phenomena, delved into the case. His team conducted interviews with witnesses and began filing Freedom of Information Act or FOIA requests with various government agencies in an attempt to find out what had really happened to Needles that night. Unfortunately, these efforts yielded few results. Many agencies either denied any knowledge of the incident or stated that they had no records to provide. The Federal Aviation Administration, or FAA for example, claimed that it did not retain records of aircraft in the area at the time of the crash. However, the investigative team did manage to obtain a single transponder reading that confirmed the presence of at least one military helicopter in the vicinity on the morning of May 14th. Additionally, records revealed that a detachment of the U.S. Army Special Operations Aviation Regiment, known as the Night Stalkers, was operating out of Henderson Airport in Nevada during the same time frame. This elite group of helicopter pilots is known for conducting covert missions, and their presence in the area only added to the mystery. As the investigation into the Needles crash continued, several key witnesses either disappeared or refused to speak further about the incident. Bob on the River, who had been one of the first to report the crash to KTOX radio, suddenly vanished. Friends and acquaintances reported that they had not seen or heard from him in weeks following the event. His disappearance remains unexplained, and efforts to locate him have been unsuccessful. Other witnesses, including those who had seen the mysterious vehicles or helicopters, grew increasingly hesitant to discuss what they had seen. Some expressed fear of retaliation or being watched by the men in black who had been seen around town. This atmosphere of fear and paranoia only fueled the growing belief that something extraordinary had taken place in Needles, and those involved were actively trying to cover it up. As with many UFO incidents, the Needles crash has spawned a wide range of theories. Some believe that the object that fell from the sky was an extraterrestrial craft, and that the military's swift response was part of a long-standing effort to recover and reverse engineer alien technology. This theory is supported by the accounts of witnesses who described the object as glowing and unusually shaped, as well as by the presence of the black helicopters and military personnel. Others suggest that the object may have been a top-secret government project, possibly an experimental aircraft or weapon that malfunctioned and crashed. This would explain the rapid response by the military and the involvement of the Night Stalkers, who are often tasked with retrieving sensitive materials in such situations. There's also speculation that the object could have been part of a joint U.S. military and private aerospace project, with companies like Lockheed Martin or Northrop Grumman testing advanced technology in remote areas like Needles. This theory is bolstered by the proximity of Area 51 and other secretive military installations in Nevada. Regardless of the true nature of the object, the Needles crash has left a lasting impression on those who witnessed it. The lack of official explanations, combined with the disappearance of witnesses and the eerie presence of the men in black, has cemented this event as one of the most compelling UFO cases in recent history. Now, let's dive into another similar case that still remains a mystery. In the early morning hours of December 29, 1980, what began as a peaceful drive home for Betty Cash, Vicki Landrum, and Vicki's 7-year-old grandson Colby turned into one of the most documented and baffling U.S. incidents in U.S. history. The three were driving on a remote road in East Texas, near the small town of Huffman, when they encountered a bright, glowing object hovering above the road. This sighting, which would later become known as the Cash-Lundrum UFO incident, not only left the witnesses physically affected, but also raised serious questions about government involvement in military cover-ups. That night, Cash, Lundrum, and Colby were returning home after having dinner in Dayton, Texas. They were driving along a 2-lane road surrounded by pine trees when they suddenly noticed a bright light in the distance. As they continued driving, the light grew more intense, and eventually they could make out the shape of a large, diamond-shaped object hovering above the road. The object emitted an intense heat and appeared to be spewing flames from its underside. Frightened but curious, Cash stopped the car in the middle of the road, just 65 yards from the object. Landrum, a deeply religious woman, initially believed the object might be the second coming of Christ, as it was so bright and awe-inspiring. However, her belief quickly turned to fear when she realized that the intense heat radiating from the object was becoming unbearable. Colby, terrified, began to cry, and Landrum urged Cash to drive away. Cash, however, had gotten out of the car to get a closer look at the object. The heat was so extreme that when she touched the car's metal exterior, it burned her hand. After several minutes, the object began to ascend, but as it did, a group of military-style helicopters, later described as being Chinooks, appeared on the scene. According to the witnesses, there were at least 23 helicopters surrounding the object. The object moved slowly in the sky, with the helicopter seemingly escorting or possibly even attempting to capture or contain it. The group was astonished by what they were seeing, but quickly realized that they needed to get out of the area as the heat and intensity of the light were becoming unbearable. Cash, Landrum, and Colby resumed their drive, but all three began to experience symptoms of illness almost immediately after the encounter. Cash was in the worst condition. Her skin was red and blistered, and she experienced severe nausea and vomiting. By the time they returned home, all three were feeling extremely unwell. Over the next few days, Cash's condition worsened dramatically. Her symptoms were consistent with radiation exposure, severe headaches, nausea, diarrhea, and blisters covering her skin. Landrum and Colby also experienced similar, though less severe symptoms. Cash was eventually admitted to a hospital where she remained for over 2 weeks, and her health continued to decline over the following months. She developed painful sores, hair loss, and vision problems, all of which were consistent with radiation sickness. Concerned about their health and seeking answers, Cash and Landrum contacted local authorities, but they were met with skepticism. They were eventually referred to the Bergstrom Air Force Base in Austin, Texas, where they provided statements about the incident. However, the Air Force denied any knowledge of the event and claimed that no military operations had taken place in the area on the night of the encounter. Frustrated by the lack of response from the military and government, Cash and Landrum sought legal action. They filed a lawsuit against the U.S. government, seeking $20 million in damages for their medical expenses and suffering. The case was based on the assumption that the helicopters they had seen were part of a military operation, and that the U.S. government was either responsible for or aware of the UFO. The lawsuit was filed in 1982, but it faced numerous challenges. The primary issue was proving that the helicopters were indeed military, and that the U.S. government had knowledge of the UFO. Despite the witnesses' detailed descriptions of the helicopters and the object, the government continued to deny any involvement. The Department of Defense conducted an investigation into the incident, but concluded that there was no evidence to support the claim that military helicopters had been in the area that night. In court, Cash and Landrum's lawyer, Peter Gersten, argued that the U.S. government was neglecting in failing to protect its citizens from a potentially dangerous aircraft or spacecraft. However, the case was dismissed in 1986 due to a lack of evidence. The court ruled that there was no proof that the helicopters were owned or operated by the U.S. government, and without that connection, there could be no liability. Despite the dismissal of the lawsuit, the Cash Landrum incident remains one of the most compelling UFO cases in history, largely due to the physical effects experienced by the witnesses and the involvement of military helicopters. Over the years, several theories have emerged about what exactly happened that night. One popular theory is that the object was an experimental military aircraft or spacecraft, possibly developed using reverse-engineered alien technology. Some UFO researchers have speculated that the U.S. government was testing a nuclear-powered craft, and that the helicopters were part of a recovery or containment operation after the craft malfunctioned. This would explain the intense heat and radiation-like symptoms experienced by the witnesses, as well as the presence of so many military helicopters. Another theory is that the object was extraterrestrial in origin, and that the U.S. military was attempting to intercept or capture it. The idea that the government has been involved in secret UFO recovery operations has been a common theme in UFO lore, and the Cash Landrum incident fits into this narrative. The quick response time of the helicopters, arriving just moments after the object appeared, suggests that the military was either tracking the object or had prior knowledge of its presence. Skeptics, however, have offered alternative explanations. Some have suggested that the witnesses may have seen a re-entering satellite or a piece of space debris, which could explain the bright light and fiery appearance of the object. The helicopters could have been part of a routine military exercise or unrelated operation that just had happened to coincide with the sighting. However, this explanation does not account for the physical effects experienced by the witnesses. The most compelling aspect of the Cash Landrum incident is the physical toll it took on the witnesses. Betty Cash, in particular, suffered long-term health problems that were consistent with radiation exposure. In addition to the initial symptoms of nausea, vomiting, and blisters, she developed cataracts and had to undergo multiple surgeries over the years to address her deteriorating health. She never fully recovered and passed away in 1998, still believing that the UFO encounter was responsible for her illness. Vicki Landrum and her grandson Colby also experienced health problems, though to a lesser extent. Landrum reported persistent vision problems and hair loss, while Colby suffered from recurring skin rashes. Both maintained their account of the incident throughout their lives and insisted that they had seen something extraordinary that night. The psychological effects of the encounter were also significant. All three witnesses were deeply traumatized by the event and struggled to come to terms with what they had seen. They faced ridicule and disbelief from skeptics and government officials, which only added to their frustration and distress. Despite this, they remained steadfast in their story, refusing to back down or change their account. One of the most frustrating aspects of the Cash Landrum incident is the lack of accountability from the U.S. government. Despite the witnesses' detailed description of military helicopters and their efforts to seek answers, the government has consistently denied any involvement. The Department of Defense investigation yielded no concrete results, and the FOIA requests filed by the witnesses' lawyers were met with similar denials. The case has been cited by UFO researchers and advocates as an example of a government cover-up. The involvement of military helicopters, the witnesses' physical symptoms, and the lack of a satisfactory explanation all point to the possibility that the government knows more about the incident than it's willing to admit. Some have speculated that the object was part of a classified project and that the government is hiding the truth to protect its interests. The Cash Landrum UFO incident remains one of the most compelling and well-documented UFO cases in history. It stands out not only for the physical effects experienced by the witnesses, but also for the involvement of military helicopters and the lack of a satisfactory explanation from the government. The case has been featured in numerous books, documentaries, and television programs, and it continues to be studied by UFO researchers and enthusiasts. For Betty Cash, Vicki Landrum, and Colby, the incident was life-changing. They sought justice and answers, but were ultimately met with indifference and denial from the government. Despite this, their story has endured, and it serves as a reminder of the potential dangers of unexplained phenomena and the lengths to which governments may go to keep the truth hidden. The Cash Landrum incident remains a mystery to this day. Whether it was a secret military project, an extraterrestrial craft, or something else entirely, the witnesses' experience and the physical evidence they provided continue to fuel speculation and debate. The case highlights the challenge of investigating UFO sightings and the difficulties faced by witnesses in seeking recognition and accountability. A few days ago, the skies over Palmdale and Lancaster, California, became the center of attention as a series of unusual events unfolded. Thousands of residents located in these communities just north of Los Angeles and near Edwards Air Force Base reported seeing unidentified flying objects darting across the sky. The reports, along with videos showing mysterious bright lights moving erratically, quickly circulated on social media, sparking a mix of excitement, confusion, and debate.
Ma, you see this?
No. Holy shit! What the hell is that?
What is happening? You guys see this? Oh my god, what the fuck is happening? What is that? What is that? Ma, you...
It's weird, man. What the hell is this? Like the one over there looks like it's moving like...
It's not burning up.
No.
So...
Let's look at
Oh, Ma, you...
that.
What is that?
it's
Can see our chip.
What is that?
The sighting started shortly after nightfall, with residents of Palmdale and Lancaster observing strange lights behaving unpredictably in the sky. Initially, many believed they were watching aircraft from the nearby Air Force Base, which is a common sight in this aerospace-heavy region. However, as the lights continued to zigzag, making abrupt stops, sharp turns, and varying their speed, it became apparent that these were not typical aircraft. A video that quickly gained attention online captured the unusual movement of the lights. The footage showed several bright orbs moving together, suddenly changing directions and coming to abrupt stops. The lights appeared to defy the laws of physics, maneuvering in ways that no human-made aircraft could match. The combination of speed, agility, and unpredictability left viewers both fascinated and confused. As more videos and eyewitness reports emerged, it became clear this wasn't an isolated incident. The sightings were widespread, with reports from multiple locations across both cities. Social media was buzzing with discussions, theories, and speculations as people tried to make sense of what they had seen. While some dismissed the lights as military exercises or advanced drones, others were convinced that they were witnessing something truly extraordinary, possibly even evidence of extraterrestrial life. One of the most notable aspects of these sightings was their proximity to Edwards Air Force Base, a key site for testing and developing advanced military aircraft and technology. The base, known for its secrecy and cutting-edge projects, has long been linked to reports of unusual aerial activity. For years, it's been a focus for UFO enthusiasts who believe the government's concealing evidence of extraterrestrial encounters, or experimenting with technology far beyond what is publicly known. Given this background, it's no surprise that the sighting of strange lights near Edwards Air Force Base sparked speculation about secret military operations. Some locals speculated that the lights were part of an experimental aircraft test or a classified military project. They suggested that the erratic movement of the lights could indicate advanced propulsion systems or a new stealth technology being tested under the cover of night. However, others argued that even the most advanced military aircraft would likely follow some recognizable pattern or adhere to the principles of aerodynamics. The zigzagging lights with their seemingly impossible maneuvers didn't match the profile of any known or rumored aircraft. This discrepancy led to the belief that what was observed might be something entirely different, perhaps a phenomenon that science has yet to explain. The videos recorded by witnesses are compelling, offering visual evidence that something unusual was happening in the skies over Palmdale and Lancaster. However, the interpretation of this evidence is where the debate begins. While the footage clearly shows bright lights moving erratically, it does not definitively reveal what those lights were. This uncertainty has given rise to a range of theories, from the ordinary to the extraordinary. The most straightforward explanation is that the lights were part of a military exercise involving drones or experimental aircraft. Edwards Air Force Base is known for testing advanced technology, so it's possible the lights were from a new type of drone or aircraft undergoing trials. The erratic movements could be attributed to advanced flight patterns designed to test the vehicle's capabilities or the skills of its operators. Another possibility is that the lights were commercial or recreational drones operated by individuals or groups unaware of the panic they were causing. Drones have become more advanced and popular, with some capable of swift, precise movements that could resemble the behavior shown in the videos. However, the theory is complicated by the number of lights and the distances they covered, which would be challenging for typical consumer drones. A particularly intriguing theory, which captures many imaginations, is that the lights came from extraterrestrial sources. The erratic high-speed maneuvers, combined with the lack of sound and the apparent intelligent coordination of the lights, have led some to speculate that they were observing UFOs from another world interacting with or observing Earth. Despite being dismissed by skeptics, this theory remains popular among those who believe the evidence suggests something beyond human technology. Another possibility is that the lights were caused by a natural atmospheric or optical phenomenon. While this is less likely given the observed behavior, phenomena such as ball lightning or atmospheric reflections might create the illusion of lights moving in unusual patterns. However, this explanation does not fully address the consistency and duration of the sightings. The recent surge in UFO sightings in Palmdale and Lancaster has rekindled public interest in unidentified aerial phenomena, especially in areas closely connected to military activities. The incident has contributed to the growing collection of evidence and reports suggesting something unexplained is happening in our skies. Whether the lights were due to advanced military technology, drones, or something extraterrestrial, the event has left a significant impact on both the witnesses and those following the story. Recently, a mysterious event unfolded in a rural village in Ecuador, leaving residents with many questions. During the quiet hours of the night, an unidentified object fell from the sky and struck the ground. The incident began early in the morning when villagers were jolted awake by a powerful tremor and a thunder-like noise. Alarmed by the commotion, they rushed outside to find the source of the disturbance. What they discovered was both puzzling and fascinating. Witnesses reported seeing strange black materials embedded in the ground, emitting a strange, ethereal glow. The object, about the size of a small car, was partially buried and had created a crater upon impact. Its smooth, metallic surface was unlike any known terrestrial material. The villagers, astonished in awe, approached the object with caution, their sense of wonder heightened by the unusual circumstances and late hour. News of the unusual impact event quickly spread to nearby locals, who came to examine the mysterious object. Interestingly, experts in meteor impacts noted that the object's composition did not match any known terrestrial material or meteorite. Its smooth surface and lack of fragmentation suggested it had not experienced the usual stresses of atmospheric entry. Further investigation showed no debris around the site and no skid marks from the impact. Many observers remarked that it seemed as if the object had vanished after hitting the ground. The strange impact event in Ecuador led to various theories. Some speculated that the object's odd appearance and lack of similarity to known materials might indicate an extraterrestrial origin. Others proposed that it might be space debris, such as a defunct satellite or rocket part. However, the absence of identifying markings or typical signs of space debris cast doubt on this theory. Some researchers have investigated the possibility of an unknown natural phenomenon, proposing that it might involve previously unidentified geological or atmospheric processes. Currently, the cause of the impact site and the absence of materials remains unknown. Chuck Schumer is being recognized for his efforts to advance legislation aimed at declassifying government records related to unidentified anomalous phenomena in UFOs. Senator Chuck Schumer, the majority leader from New York, is supporting a bill to create a commission with the authority to release government records on unidentified objects. This initiative seeks to force the government to reveal its complete knowledge about such phenomena. The bill aims to counteract speculative theories about unidentified objects and address public concerns about potential government secrecy. The proposed legislation, set to be introduced by Mr. Schumer as an addition to the annual defense policy bill, has backing from both Democrats and Republicans, including Senator Mike Rounds from South Dakota and Senator Marco Rubio from Florida. Senator Rubio has been a strong supporter of legislation that led to the government release of a series of reports on unexplained phenomena. It's also likely that this proposal will gain support in the House, where a recent addition to the defense bill would require the Pentagon to reveal information on unidentified objects. Government branches and agencies have differing views on the terminology for unexplained sightings. While the term UFO has been avoided, there is debate over whether the use aerial phenomena or anomalous phenomena as the appropriate label. The Senate proposal sets a deadline of 300 days for government agencies to organize and submit their documentation on unidentified incidents to an assessment committee. President Biden will nominate a 9-member review board, which must be confirmed by the Senate. Senate staff members aim to form a panel that will support transparency while protecting confidential intelligence methods. Interest in unidentified objects has been strong for a long time, but has increased with the release of videos showing unexplained events captured by military sensors. Naval aviators have also reported puzzling incidents from their training missions, adding to the growing fascination with the topic. While some Pentagon-released videos have been attributed to optical illusions or drones, others remain unexplained and are widely discussed. Under pressure from Congress, the Pentagon and intelligence agencies have compiled hundreds of reports on unexplained phenomena. Officials have stated that most of these incidents are likely due to airborne debris, Chinese spying efforts, or weather balloons. They have repeatedly asserted that none of the collected videos or materials show evidence of advanced visitation. Determining the exact number of unreleased documents in government archives is difficult. Intelligence agencies claim to have released all available material, but their Freedom of Information departments regularly receive requests for UFO-related information, only to find that the archives have been made public. Sources close to Mr. Schumer suggest that government agencies, including the Pentagon, have conducted unpublished work that remains classified. This lack of transparency has frustrated lawmakers from both parties. For example, several task forces within the Pentagon have thoroughly reviewed videos captured by Navy aviators and other military personnel, which remain classified. Some segments of these videos have been released, such as at a recent NASA event. Officials sometimes worry that revealing certain details could compromise the security of classified optical and sensor technologies. For cases where no conclusive results have been found, they've been careful about sharing specifics of their discussions and theories. This caution has led to ongoing speculation on social media, television, and in public debates. Mr. Schumer's proposed legislation would give the president the power to delay the release of specific information chosen by the Commission for National Security reasons. The bill, however, aims to establish a clear timeline for document release and formalize the expectation that such materials should be made public. According to Allison Biasotti, a representative for Mr. Schumer, a new procedure will be implemented to declassify this material. Government officials have consistently claimed that they do not have any wreckage from a crashed unidentified object or any substance created outside Earth. The question of why the U.S. government and many others globally might withhold information about unidentified objects or aerial phenomena is intriguing. The main reason for government secrecy is often national security. Governments usually classify information that could reveal sensitive military technologies or operations. Since military personnel often report sightings during exercises or deployments, there may be concerns that sharing these encounters could inadvertently disclose classified defense capabilities or strategic operations. Additionally, the unknown nature of these objects might pose a potential threat that governments prefer to study discreetly to avoid public panic or exploitation by adversaries. Governments might also worry that revealing such information could lead to public alarm or societal disruption. The idea that unidentified objects are regularly entering our airspace without being detected or addressed might cause concern. Additionally, if these objects are of advanced origin, even if not confirmed, it could challenge people's fundamental views about humanity's place in the universe, leading to unpredictable societal reactions. International relations could be another concern. Publicizing these encounters might increase geopolitical tensions, particularly if they occur in sensitive areas. Governments might choose not to discuss these incidents publicly to avoid diplomatic conflicts or escalations. On a scientific level, these phenomena often challenge our current understanding of physics and aeronautics. Governments might be reluctant to release information that could disrupt established scientific theories or spark controversy within the academic community, fearing damage to their scientific reputation. Bureaucratic inertia and the potential embarrassment of admitting a lack of knowledge or control over these phenomena might also play a role. For decades, agencies like the U.S. Air Force have downplayed these occurrences, often attributing sightings to simple explanations like misidentified aircraft, weather phenomena, or hoaxes. Admitting otherwise could be viewed as a loss of credibility and an indication of inadequate control over national airspace. Recently, however, there have been signs of change. The U.S. government, for instance, has become more transparent about its investigations into these aircraft. Revealing credible information about unidentified objects or aerial phenomena would have significant societal implications. From a scientific standpoint, confirming the existence of technology advanced, possibly non-human craft would prompt a major shift and create a strong demand for new research. Such a revelation would reshape fields like physics, astrophysics, and aeronautics, requiring new theories and models to explain these phenomena. It could also motivate a new wave of scientists and innovators eager to understand and possibly replicate the advanced technology of these unidentified aircraft. On a philosophical level, disclosure could challenge our core beliefs about our place in the universe. Confirming the advanced origins of these aircraft would suggest we're not alone, potentially fostering a sense of planetary unity or shared human identity. This might prompt a reevaluation of long-held beliefs and perspectives, opening new avenues in philosophy, religion, and spirituality. Socioculturally, the discovery of other advanced civilizations could lead to significant changes in our societal structures, values, and goals. This revelation could spark renewed interest in space exploration and boost investment in science, technology, and education. However, it might also lead to unease or fear due to the uncertainty about these entities' intentions. Consequently, governments could face pressure to enhance planetary defense and develop new diplomatic strategies. Economically, the impact could be mixed. It might drive growth in sectors like aerospace, technology, and education. Conversely, the initial uncertainty might negatively affect financial markets or lead to short-term economic instability. Regarding governance and international relations, the disclosure could create both challenges and opportunities. It could encourage unprecedented global cooperation as countries work together to understand and address this new reality. Alternatively, it might heighten geopolitical tensions as nations vie to leverage new technologies for strategic benefits. The societal response would largely depend on the specifics of the disclosure. A gradual release of information about unidentified aerial phenomena without confirming an advanced origin might have a more subtle impact. In contrast, a sudden and dramatic confirmation of extraterrestrial life could likely cause immediate and far-reaching effects on society. Currently, the potential societal impact of such a disclosure is vast, affecting nearly every aspect of life. This possibility highlights the need to continue investigating these phenomena, not only to satisfy curiosity, but also to prepare for the significant changes that could follow. In terms of international cooperation, the disclosure of credible evidence regarding unidentified objects could act as a catalyst for unprecedented global collaboration. Countries might be motivated to work together to understand and address the potential challenges posed by such phenomena. This collaboration could extend beyond mere information sharing to joint research efforts, development of new technologies, and coordination in defense strategies. The prospect of working together on a shared mystery could foster diplomatic relations and create a common ground for international cooperation, strengthening alliances and partnerships. However, the potential for heightened geopolitical tensions cannot be ignored. The revelation of advanced technology or evidence of extraterrestrial life could exacerbate existing rivalries and prompt nations to race for strategic advantages. Governments might engage in competitive technological development or intelligence gathering to ensure that they're at the forefront of understanding and exploiting these phenomena. This competition could lead to increased militarization and the allocation of significant resources towards defense and technological advancement, potentially diverting funds from other critical areas such as healthcare and education. On a societal level, the impact of such disclosures would likely be profound. Public reactions to the confirmation of advanced non-human technology or extraterrestrial life could vary widely. Some individuals might experience a sense of awe and excitement, driven by the prospect of new scientific discoveries and the potential for contact with other civilizations. This could lead to a surge in public interest in space exploration, science fiction, and related fields, stimulating educational and career pursuits in these areas. Conversely, others might experience fear, anxiety, or disbelief. The idea of non-human intelligence possessing advanced technology could challenge deeply held beliefs and provoke existential concerns. Societal stability could be tested as individuals and communities grapple with the implications of such revelations. Governments would need to address public concerns transparently and provide reassurance to mitigate potential panic and maintain social cohesion. From a scientific perspective, the confirmation of advanced technology or extraterrestrial life would prompt a paradigm shift. Researchers across various disciplines would need to reevaluate current theories and models to incorporate new findings. This could lead to breakthroughs in our understandings of physics, biology, and other sciences, potentially leading to new technologies and innovations. The scientific community might experience a renaissance of exploration and discovery, driven by the desire to understand the nature and origins of these phenomena. The philosophical and existential implications of such disclosures would also be significant. The realization that humanity's not alone in the universe could prompt a reevaluation of our place in the cosmos. It might lead to a reassessment of values, ethics, and understanding of existence. This shift in perspective could influence philosophical, religious, and spiritual discourse, potentially leading to new frameworks for understanding, potentially leading to new frameworks for understanding our relationship with the universe and other forms of life.
38 people disappeared overnight while headed from Chile to Antarctica.
Antarctica holds secrets that could change our understanding of history and challenge what we know. A former naval officer and a journalist have revealed startling claims about discovering a hidden alien base in Antarctica, complete with UFOs. How did naval flight engineer Brian find this base? How was the global power trying to keep it hidden? Join us as we dive into the unsettling claim that aliens might be hiding in Antarctica. The naval officer's revelation. In January 2015, investigative reporter Linda Moulton Howe received an email from Brian, a retired U.S. naval flight engineer, who shared an intriguing story from his time in Antarctica during the 80s and 90s.
Naval flight engineer. He's asked me to call him only Brian.
Brian described seeing strange phenomena during his flights, including a massive, perfect circle in the ice that led to a glowing cave entrance below. Things took a peculiar turn when all the equipment on his aircraft malfunctioned while he was investigating, forcing an emergency restart. Following the incident, records were seized and Brian and his crew were silenced. This piqued Linda's curiosity, prompting her to look into potential archaeological finds in Antarctica. Brian later shared details of an event from 1987 during a resupply mission out of McMurdo Station. His crew received last-minute orders to retrieve something from a remote Antarctic campsite. Upon arrival, they found the camp abandoned and disorganized, with no signs of human presence. This unsettling discovery led to a series of disappearances at Antarctic stations, accompanied by unusual radio signals and strange languages from an unknown source deep beneath the ice. As the crew became increasingly anxious, Brian's co-pilot saw a large, shiny craft silently moving past their cockpit. The craft resembled something from a sci-fi movie, a smooth, white, lozenge-shaped vessel over 100 feet in diameter. Brian reported this sighting upon his return, but soon after, men in black suits and high-ranking naval commanders arrived at McMurdo and demanded he retract his report. Brian refused and faced threats of severe consequences. Weeks later, while investigating a remote area, Brian detected a faint distress signal from within an ice shelf. He traced it to a glowing circular hole in the ice. As they approached, their plane's systems failed, but they managed to restore backup power and return safely. Brian sent a coded alert about the mysterious ice hole, which led to a series of classified convoys heading to the location. He was subsequently interrogated by DARPA officials who warned him to remain silent about the unusual sightings. Brian linked these events to unresolved cases of missing scientists and abandoned research stations in Antarctica. He felt a deep sense of responsibility and guilt for not speaking out about these disturbing incidents, aware that others had faced danger for doing so. Thankfully, Linda Howe, an investigator dedicated to uncovering hidden information, teamed up with Brian. Over the years, Linda carried out extensive investigations, collecting testimonies from military witnesses who corroborated Brian's claims. These witnesses reported sightings of advanced airships near Antarctica, unusual radio signals, and unidentified submerged objects moving at remarkable speeds in the Southern Ocean. Classified satellite images showed temporary dome-like structures in Antarctica that were dismantled to hide covert activities. Linda also found obituaries of researchers specializing in Antarctic studies who died under mysterious circumstances. Her research uncovered decades of secretive expeditions by both military and scientific groups in Antarctica, raising questions about their true motives. Despite Antarctica being designated as a scientific preserve, rising geopolitical tensions over territorial claims have heightened concerns about resource exploitation and nuclear deployment. Today, Linda faces opposition from secretive security agencies as she probes deeper into Antarctica's growing secrecy. However, her efforts are gaining wider support. The future of our planet may depend on greater transparency about Antarctica, which remains elusive due to powerful interests. Supporting truth seekers like Linda and approaching reality with an open and critical mindset is crucial. As more secrets about Antarctica come to light, focusing on facts rather than fear is essential. even if it means facing unsettling truths that could alter our historical understanding. Brian's extraterrestrial Antarctic encounters. Brian's flights over Antarctica turned into a bizarre sci-fi adventure against the backdrop of the icy continent. Researchers went missing, became fearful, and refused to talk, adding a mysterious element to Brian's account. The real puzzle, though, was Brian repeatedly spotting shiny silver objects performing unusual maneuvers in the bright Antarctic skies, defying known science. During one flight over the Queen Maud mountain range, Brian and his crew observed perfectly round discs, about 30 to 40 yards wide, appearing one after another from behind an icy peak and floating in a strange line towards Mount Frejov. These discs, which didn't reflect light and appeared solid against the blue sky, moved in ways that defied human engineering. Synchronized spins, rapid accelerations, and mid-air rotations without visible wings or jets. After 15 minutes of this strange display, the discs vanished behind Mount Frejov, leaving Brian and his crew astonished. The situation took a turn for the bizarre when Brian discovered a massive, perfectly smooth hole in the Antarctic ice, leading to a glowing cave below. The hole had a cool blue glow and was smoother than any modern drill could achieve. As they approached, all their equipment, radar, navigation systems, malfunctioned. Everything functioned normally elsewhere, but within a kilometer of the cave, it was chaotic. Brian's report detailing electromagnetic disturbances and sightings of 3 fast-moving objects emerging from the cave was intercepted by unknown individuals who silenced him. The incident echoed old stories about mysterious underground spaces in Antarctica from Admiral Byrd's 1947 expedition. Brian risked solo flights over the area, encountering wild electrical interference. On his final flight before being banned from the zone, he saw a silver disc inside the ice cave. The disc then emitted a blinding light that disabled all of Brian's equipment. When they regained control 20 minutes later, they found themselves 13 kilometers away from the cave. Despite numerous attempts, bad weather and a no-fly zone prevented him from finding the cave ever again. In the years following, Brian connected with other pilots who had seen similar silver discs near Antarctic bases. A colleague near Uller Peak provided evidence of unidentified submerged objects in the Weddell Sea, while another friend shared satellite thermal images showing heat signatures under Wilkes Land, suggesting temporary structures or habitats. These accounts painted a picture of covert activities beneath the Antarctic ice, possibly linked to the silver aircraft Brian had observed. Brian still reflects on these strange experiences. The truth about what exists in Antarctica's depths remain elusive. With space agencies planning bases in Antarctica, humanity may soon face the reality of what or who resides in its deepest corners. Brian's story is a crucial part of unraveling Antarctica's ultimate secret, challenging our understanding of human history and our place on this intelligent planet. Confronting these mysteries with an open mind is essential, even if the truths are unsettling. In the realm of evolution and historical accounts, Brian's astonishing stories of his Antarctic adventures intriguingly mirrored tales from decades earlier by the renowned American polar explorer Admiral Richard Byrd. Byrd gained fame for his pioneering air expeditions over the North and South Poles in 1926 and 1929, establishing himself as a national hero. However, it was Byrd's 1947 claim of discovering a vast entrance to a hidden underground world during an Antarctic expedition that truly captivated the public. Byrd reported descending into an ice-free land filled with mountains, forests, and giant animals before being forced to return by menacing disc-shaped aircraft. Upon his return to the U.S., his remarkable account was quickly suppressed amid mysterious pressure from authorities. Much like Brian's experience, Byrd encountered a swift effort to confiscate records and silence all the survivors of his expedition regarding any unusual Antarctic observations. Byrd's fame and reputation made it challenging to dismiss his unusual claims. The handlers of the Antarctic cover-up knew that their usual methods of ridicule and denial wouldn't work against such a well-respected figure. Byrd was interrogated under U.S. Navy psychiatric observation and then suddenly retracted his story. Soon after, those who had been vocal about Antarctica began to refuse comment, and Byrd withdrew from public life for good. The government's message was clear. Anyone who dared to breach confidentiality faced serious consequences. The suppression of Byrd's account only increased suspicion about the secrets officials were trying so hard to conceal. While authorities dismissed Byrd's claims as polar delirium, many remained skeptical, especially given the strong denials against an admired explorer. If Antarctica held anything like Byrd's descriptions of a lush inner world with advanced technology and enormous creatures, the implications for science, history, and society would be enormous. Initially, speculation centered on national security concerns, competition for Antarctic resources, and maintaining a facade of normalcy. The U.S. Navy likely worried about Soviet exploitation of a hidden Antarctic domain, while scientific institutions feared the impact of revelations on advanced physics and medicine. Political leaders aimed to avoid social unrest by keeping maps of Earth's geology incomplete. The extensive secrecy imposed by several leading governments after Byrd's account suggests that the interests at stake went far beyond conventional nationalistic or scientific goals. Byrd's testimony hinted that Antarctica might hold secrets challenging the foundations of human knowledge and origins. Declassified FBI documents revealed that the federal government monitored every member of Admiral Byrd's 1947 expedition until their deaths. This surveillance was linked to concerns about their personal experiences, rather than just general geopolitical security. During the Cold War, authorities recognized that Byrd's revelations had implications beyond typical spatial, territorial, or technological advancements. By releasing his extraordinary Antarctic discoveries while still on the continent, Byrd likely intended to control the narrative and counter any suppression efforts. Initially, the strategy worked, as American media reported sensational headlines about Byrd discovering a hidden, temperate world with advanced life beyond the South Pole. However, Byrd was soon forced to retract his claims under confidentiality, allowing the government to discredit him and push Antarctica out of the public eye for decades. The situation began to shift again with new testimonies from retired military personnel like Brian, who reported strange silver disks in a glowing ice cavern beneath Antarctica. These accounts seemed to echo Byrd's descriptions of vast, hollow regions filled with unusual crafts. The long-standing eyewitness accounts, now corroborated by Linda's investigations, have created a foundation of credibility that authorities have attempted to undermine since the 1940s through media manipulation and intimidation. Unlike the era of Byrd, where centralized media control and unchecked elite authority prevailed, today's internet-driven shift towards data democratization has made it difficult to suppress information about Antarctica. A global movement has emerged on social media under the hashtag AntarcticaTruth, driven by Linda's research, which challenges previous taboos about the continent's hidden secrets. These secrets, though dismissed by establishment circles, have been consistently reported by observers over generations. Antarctica's secrecy has been apparent, with world maps showing its vague outlines while keeping the interior obscure. Scientists, while mapping distant planets like Mars, admit their lack of understanding about the Antarctic conditions that separate Earth's crust from its molten core beneath the ice. Recent studies suggest it's unlikely that explorers Amundsen and Scott could have navigated the South Pole without encountering unknown mountain ranges not considered in their plans. In simpler terms, advanced species might have lived in Antarctica long before humans, possibly due to nuclear activity affecting the climate or cycles of rising and falling civilizations. Linda's investigations repeatedly uncovered a coordinated effort to keep Antarctica's profound secrets hidden, with the campaign moving between military agencies and archaeological institutions and linking powerful entities across continents. Over the decades, exiled scientists and defecting contractors gathered testimonies for public release, bringing the enforced ignorance about humanity's southernmost frontier closer to a tipping point. What followed held the potential to either unite global society or deeply divide humanity, depending on how people reacted to chilling truths. Brian and Linda's efforts were key in revealing Antarctica's deepest mysteries, which promised to significantly alter our understanding across all major disciplines and fields of knowledge. As the ice gradually retreats, the structured secrecy surrounding our planet's final frontier will also diminish. But public interpretation must be guided by intellectual courage and discretion, Humanity faces a choice: to embrace wisdom and advance collectively, or retreat and deny the newly exposed realities. The path we choose will determine whether we rise to new heights or face potential destruction. Antarctica, the coldest, driest, and windiest continent on Earth, is a vast icy realm at the planet's southern end. Spanning about 32.5 million square miles, it lives up to its reputation for extreme weather. Despite its immense size, it's sparsely populated with fewer than 10,000 residents, mostly scientists and researchers braving the harsh conditions to explore its secrets. The temperature can plunge to a staggering minus 56 degrees Fahrenheit, and on the coldest days it can reach minus 128 degrees Fahrenheit. The winds can whip up to 186 miles per hour, faster than a cheetah's top speed, and snowstorms can persist for weeks, making it an exceptionally harsh environment. Antarctica also holds historical puzzles. The Peary Ray map of the 1500s depicted Antarctica long before its official discovery in 1820. This raises questions about how ancient cartographers had such accurate knowledge of the frozen continent. Despite its remote location, Antarctica remains remarkably pristine due to the Antarctic Treaty of 1959. This agreement, signed by 12 nations, restricts major human activity and focuses on scientific research, keeping the continent free from pollution and urban interference. In essence, Antarctica is a frozen kingdom that's both incredibly challenging and profoundly intriguing, maintaining its untouched status thanks to international cooperation. The extreme cold in Antarctica has preserved ancient meteorites and microbial life forms, offering insights into our solar system's early history. These meteorites provide valuable material for studying the formation of our solar system over 4.6 billion years ago. Scientists have also found microfossils and extremophiles in deep Antarctic ice, which shed light on the remarkable survival and adaptation of life. Besides its scientific importance, Antarctica is a place of extraordinary beauty, with its glacial landscapes featuring striking blue ice caves and braided ice rivers flowing silently to the sea. Experiencing Antarctica is a unique, almost surreal experience that blends its breathtaking scenery with its isolated, icy environment. Many have tried to capture its essence through art and photography, but it's a challenge to fully convey its magic. However, Antarctica faces significant threats. The largest iceberg has recently started moving after being stuck on the ocean floor for over 30 years. This shift highlights the risk to this pristine environment. Antarctica plays a vital role in regulating our climate and weather, with its ice sheets acting as a major water reserve and its cold waters influencing global weather patterns. Unfortunately, rising temperatures are causing increased surface melting and instability in some areas. Scientists warn that climate change could disrupt the delicate balance of life in Antarctica and lead to rising sea levels. With more than 250 billion metric tons of ice melting each year, there are serious concerns about protecting Antarctica's ecosystem. Efforts are underway to create protected areas, set fishing regulations, and monitor wildlife like penguins and whales to safeguard those vulnerable species. Additionally, there's ongoing disputes over territorial claims in Antarctica. Countries like Russia, China, and the US are interested in Antarctica for its hidden resources, such as minerals and oil beneath the ice. The 1959 Antarctic Treaty was intended to maintain peace and cooperation, but with growing interest in its resources, it's under increasing pressure. The major challenge now is whether we can preserve Antarctica's pristine environment while addressing climate change, global politics, and the drive for wealth. Some advocate for keeping it protected, while others are eager to exploit its resources. It's a complex balance between environmental conservation and economic gain. Despite these tensions, Antarctica remains resilient. Its unique wildlife endures harsh winters, and its ancient landscapes have witnessed much history. There's still much to learn about this icy region, its unusual geography, extreme weather, and the survival strategies of its inhabitants. Antarctica is like a vast, unexplored treasure chest, potentially holding clues about life's resilience. As explorer Sir Ernest Shackleton suggested, we must delve deeper and reconsider our understanding of survival in polar environments. Antarctica has many stories to share, and our exploration is just beginning. Earth's isolated continent. Antarctica is more than just a frozen landmass. It's a stunning display of Earth's raw and unfiltered beauty. This icy expanse is unique, captivating those who experience its grandeur. Imagine electric blue ice caves illuminated by frozen microbes and glaciers flowing towards the sea in intricate patterns. The visuals of Antarctica create a lasting impression on those who see it. Visitors often describe their time on the continent as otherworldly. Despite its isolation and cold, there's a striking beauty in the air. Massive tabular icebergs drift along, sculpted into abstract shapes, while snow petrels and Antarctic terns glide gracefully above cracks and crevices, their movements accompanied by the whisper of the wind. Efforts to capture Antarctica's magic through cameras, writing, and art have been ongoing. Iconic images like Earthrise, which shows our planet as a floating oasis, and documentaries such as March of the Penguins, featuring emperor penguins, have made Antarctica a source of inspiration. Books like The White Darkness and The Worst Journey in the World offer gripping accounts of polar exploration, highlighting both the continent's grandeur and its harsh conditions. Today, adventurers take Antarctic cruises to see wildlife unique to the continent, with ice and rock formations that seem almost beyond description. Picture encountering curious penguins waddling on volcanic beaches between icy waters and towering cliffs. And don't forget the southern lights, which paint the night sky with vibrant greens and purples, creating a mesmerizing spectacle. A single glimpse of Antarctica reveals a level of beauty and rarity only found at the poles. As explorer Wally Herbert noted, few places on Earth evoke such strong emotions as the starkly beautiful Antarctic Peninsula. Preserving Antarctica is not just crucial for the planet's health, but also for protecting a unique gem at the world's southern tip that captivates the human imagination with its stunning beauty. Exploring Antarctica's subglacial world reveals more than its surface allure. Beneath the ice lies a hidden realm of lakes, rivers, and canyons, a world waiting to be discovered. The Antarctic ice sheet, which contains about 70% of the Earth's fresh water, conceals this secret world. This icy continent represents the largest ice mass on Earth, and our exploration so far has only scratched the surface. With the help of satellite imagery and ice-penetrating radars, scientists are beginning to uncover this hidden realm. Picture a network of water systems flowing silently beneath miles of ice. It's like a secret aquatic kingdom, and we're just starting to understand this frozen maze. A major question is whether unique microbes, adapted to extreme cold and darkness, thrive in this environment. One of the most notable discoveries is Lake Vostok, the largest subglacial lake on Earth. Russian scientists suspected its existence in the 1960s, but it wasn't confirmed until the late 1990s. Imagine a freshwater lake trapped under 13,000 feet of ice, isolated from the atmosphere for over 20 million years. The conditions there are incredibly harsh, resembling something from a science fiction story. Scientists are investigating whether tiny life forms adapted to Lake Vostok could provide clues about the potential for life on other tough planets. So, Antarctica is not only striking on the surface, but also has a hidden world beneath the ice that is ripe for exploration. What are your thoughts on these Antarctic mysteries? Share your views in the comments below. Also, like, share, and stay tuned for more intriguing stories.